All right, so today we are going to be doing notes on unit conversions. Unit conversions. So this means we're going back and forth between different sizes of things. So for example, length, we have feet and inches. 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 yard is 36 inches. 1 yard is 3 feet. 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Then moving on to weight. Sorry, let me focus a little bit better. There we go. Weight, 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. There's ounces for weight and ounces for capacity. Capacity, that's another word for volume. Capacity is another word for volume. 1 pint is 2 cups. 1 quart is 2 pints. 1 quart is 4 cups. And 1 gallon is 4 quarts. This information is all going to be very helpful to help us solve these problems. So to convert, we need to be setting up proportions like we've been doing all these units. Our first problem is we want to take 9 feet and convert it into inches. Before we do any math, we need to set up these ratios. We need to set up these proportions. So first, we want to start off with a word ratio. The word ratio is going to come from the units that we are working with in our problem. So looking at my problem, I'm converting between feet and inches. So that's what I want to put in my word ratio. Feet and inches. It does not matter which unit goes on top or bottom. It just matters that when I'm plugging in my numbers, if it's a foot number, a feet number, it's all on top. If it's an inch number, it's all going to be on the bottom. Now that we've got our word ratio sorted out, now we want to plug in our conversion information, our conversion info. Sorry, my chair's squeaky. I don't know if y'all hear that. The conversion information is going to come from the charts that we have. So when you're looking for that information, take a look up at the charts. So again, we're converting between feet and inches. So that means I want to look up at my chart where I see feet and inches. And I see that conversion is that for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So my 1 needs to go on top because all my feet numbers are on top. My 12 inches needs to go on the bottom because all of my inches numbers are on the bottom. We then need to take our conversion information and set it equal for what we're trying to solve for. The solve information, that's all going to come from the problem that we are given. We have to plug in the information from the problem that we're given. So 9 feet is equal to how many inches? We want to take that 9 and put it on top. 9's going on top because that's a foot number. All my feet number go on top, and we don't know how many inches that is. So we're going to put a variable on the bottom. Now we finally have our proportion set up, so we can do the math to solve for our missing variable. Again, we've been solving these proportions for about 2 weeks now, so we should know how to solve these. Remember, you're going to cross multiply. So I need to take 12 times 9, which is 108, and set that equal to the other side, which is 1 times x. So I just write 1 times x on the other side. I draw my river of love, divide both sides by 1, and I see that x is going to equal 108. So 9 feet then is going to be 108 inches. If you got questions, again, try one more problem, but if you're still struggling, make sure you ask us. Let's jump down to number 3. Now we're working with pounds and ounces. Pounds and ounces. All right, so I first want to start off with my word ratio. And again, that word ratio information, those are the units that we have in the problem. What units do we have in this problem? We have pounds and ounces. Pounds and ounces. Again, it does not matter what goes on top or bottom. It just matters that we keep whatever numbers on top with that unit, whatever numbers are on the bottom with that unit. After our word ratio, we have our conversion information. Where does that conversion information come from? Those charts up top. So I need to look for the conversion between pounds and ounces. If we look up top, we see 1 pound is 16 ounces. So if pounds go up top, what number needs to go on top of that fraction? 1, because that's our conversion. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So that means 16 is going to go on the bottom because that goes with ounces. Our last ratio, our last bit of our proportion is what we're trying to solve for. And again, that information comes from the problem. So our problem here is 4 pounds is equal to how many ounces? So is that 4 going to go on top or bottom? That 4 is going to go on top because 4 is with the pounds. All my pound numbers are on top. We don't know the ounces, so that's going to be on the bottom because all my ounces are on the bottom. Again, we need to use cross multiplication to help us solve. So we're going to take 16 times 4. 16 times 4 is 64. I need to set that equal to the other side, which is 1 times x, which is 1x. Do my river of love. Remember, when it's side by side, that's multiplication. So I need to divide both sides by 1. And we see that x is equal to 64. So 4 pounds is going to be 64 ounces. Let's do one more problem. I want you guys, though, we're going to do this piece by piece, but you're just going to use me to check in. So we're going to work on one piece, you solve it, and then play the video to see if you got it. So again, our problem, we have 2 gallons is equal to how many quarts? We need to start off with our word ratio. Pause the video, solve the word ratio all on your own. Your word ratio should be gallons over quarts. Again, if you flip it the other way, that's totally fine. If you do quarts over gallons, you'll still get the same answer, that's okay. After the word ratio, what comes next? The conversion information. Where does the conversion info come from? The chart up top. So use the chart up top, fill in your conversion information, make sure the right number goes with the right unit. Pause the video, do that on your own. All right, you should see that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts up top. So that means my 1 needs to go with my gallons and 4 needs to go with my quarts. And again, if you did quarts on top, that means that 4 is going to go on top. If you did gallons on the bottom, 1 is going to go on the bottom for gallons. After we have our conversion information, We're trying to solve the problem. So we need to fill in with the information from our problem. So go ahead, pause the video, try that on your own, and then play it to check to see if you got it right. We are taking 2 gallons and trying to figure out how many quarts that is. 2 gallons, trying to figure out how many quarts that is. Double check, make sure your proportion is correct. Pause the video and solve. After you solve, again, it doesn't matter which way you set it up, you still multiply across and get 8 and 1x. Divide both sides by 1, you get that 8 quarts is equal to 2 gallons. If you have questions on that, please ask us. But otherwise, go ahead and go to the next video.